Now, before we begin the chapter review, I want to express my appreciation for this cover page. For the last several chapters, we've been getting colored renditions of scenes and events from the latest releases. By far, I am really liking this colored revision of this specific scene from chapter 370, when Guts made it onto Roderick's boat and decisively locked himself in the storage room for solitude. The hue and mood fully encapsulates how the tone of the manga has been since chapter 369. Especially with these words in the cover stating, he has let go of hope. In the deep darkness, he despairs. It's just perfect. Now load it up. Yo. In this chapter, we start off from the same time period the previous two chapters did, and this time from Salat's perspective. It begins with a dialogue between him and General Odaiba yelling from a distance, but more than likely from the air because we all know he loves to ride on flying beasts. Asking Salat about the view and gets a response to not be patronizing, for Salat understands the tone in which he asks the question, evident by the way he mocks Salat for being in charge and laughs it off after. Salat is inspecting the situation and making connections from Daiba's premonition by reciting what he was told. A dark night, the moon a drawn bow lighting the heavens. From the sea where the sun has sunk, cometh beast and chains bound, wreathed in white mist haze. This leading to Salat giving credit to the old mage, but is left puzzled as to why Roderick's ship is alone in these waters. We must remember that Roderick's vessel is a battleship, and it now makes perfect sense as to why at the end of chapter 373 the Kushan boarded like it was an ambush. Likely because they were unaware of this arrival expecting hostility, and thought this was part of an invasion from Midland. As they discuss amongst one another about whether this is a ship under Griffith's command or refugees, Daiba confirms that they are too far away from Falconia to be Griffith's forces. Followed by the next panel with Salat confronting Daiba for playing dumb, because it is due to his vision that his forces were able to meet and invade this ship that is treading Kushan waters. As Daiba flies in to inspect himself, he sees that the soldiers have come upon what he foresaw in his vision, Guts, the beast of darkness being hauled in chains. What happens next is a bit heartbreaking. I mean, at this point, this is just another addition to the consistent instances of heartbreaks, as the Black Swordsman party witness a despairing and hopeless Guts bound like a tame wild beast. Everyone is so used to Guts having such a strong will to be unbound by any opposition that it sends an intense shock on everyone's face on board, specifically witnessing Guts not fighting back. But the heartbreak mainly has to do with Ishidro's response, especially after witnessing Guts pathetically face-planting from being pulled in chains. Everyone is in pain by this sight, especially Isidro because Guts is his idol, his mentor, and after going through so many life and death situations where Guts perseveres, this is a serious shock to his system. Thus, he can't help himself, being tearfully enraged by this pathetic display from the strongest man he ever laid eyes on, confused and asking what is wrong, urging him to fight and swing his sword because the Guts he knows would have cut these men down with just one swing. As he calls Guts' name, we can see it catches Rickard's attention. Isidro continues to desperately cry out, and we can see Guts' face is full of shame as he listens to him as the desperate cries start to turn into insults. Man, this pains me to see. You know the saying that you should never meet your heroes because all they'll do is disappoint you? I kinda feel like this moment encapsulates that statement very well. In the midst of Isidro's outburst, Rickard is moving through the crowd to get the Guts laying on the floor, and at that moment, we can see Puck kinda recognizing who he is, removing his helmet and face covering to reveal that he just got confirmation through Isidro calling out and did not recognize Guts fully before, which then he confirms by recognizing the brand of sacrifice on the back of his neck, which prompts him ordering the men to cut the bonds off the hostages and introduces himself to Roderick. As Daiba flies around in the background, Rickard informs him of the situation and unfortunately sees their vessel. In the next scene, Daiba informs Salat of his men capturing Guts and mentions that even though he took precaution for this, it would have been no match for him if he were to resist. Then proceeds to boast about how Salat did not take him serious before he made mention of this in his premonition, and heads back to the capital of the Empire to reconvene. It also seems like although Salat is cooperating with Daiba, he may not fully trust him just yet since he was Ganishka's right-hand man. In the next panel, we see everyone being hoarded off while only Guts and Shirke are indisposed, as Rickard looks over at Guts to lock eyes with Puck. And it ends with the light from the sunrise shining on the crew, revealing what looks to be the capital city of the Kushan Empire. Although this wasn't a very jam-packed chapter and continued a stationary setting trend like the previous two, I think this might be the most impactful since we saw what was happening with Casca in chapter 372. It offered subtle but revealing answers we were not expecting, from Daiba being a seer and being responsible for the Bakiraka forces to intercept Roderick's ship, which led to the reunion between Rickard and Guts due to Ishidro calling out his name. Also, confirming that they made it to Kushan territory that was close enough to the mainland and the capital. I'm expecting great things from chapter 376 and quite frankly ready for Guts to finally start tackling and overcoming his depressive state, or at least show us what Rickard has been up to with the Bakiraka and how badass he has become. As always, make sure to drop your thoughts on this chapter and what you are expecting to happen in the next one down in the comments. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe if you are new to the channel, that way you'll be locked in when the next video comes down the pipeline. You know the vibes, it's Kaizoku Sleven. Appreciate you.